Shit. I reposted the thing with the wrong link. Oh. Okay, letting everyone come in. Hello, hello, hello. Just people to come in. Oh, there's a new Google Pixel. That's exciting. Hey, I'm just gonna look at the new Pixel while everybody's coming in. New Google Pixel. Pretty. Yeah, I like the fold one better. The camera bump's cool. I kind of like Android. I'm sorry, everybody. Cool. Looks like everybody's in. We got a lot of people here today. Wow. Great. Cool. So thank you for coming to the weekly Midjourney Office Hours. We do these every week. And basically what we do is we talk about what we're working on, what we're thinking about, and then we take questions. We take questions either with people raising their hands and coming out to the stage with voice, or we'll do lightning rounds where people can type their questions into the VC text channel, the bottom of the thing, and then just answer as many as possible. So feel free to start raising your hands as you have questions, but first we're just going to talk about what's going on. So let's get started. We are basically working on two sets of things. There's some short-term things, which we hope to release in the next 2 weeks, and some longer-term things, which are probably closer to 6 weeks. The short-term things we're looking at is the phase 1 of our next generation website, which has new design, better search, much faster, just a really nice way of looking at all of your images as the kind of current website has. And then at some point, we're going to have a new recommendation system, a new front page. I don't know when that's dropping, but that's being worked on sort of independently because it's more of an AI thing than a web thing. And then we'll have the phase 2 of the website, which will have creation stuff on it. We're debating, like, before we make it available to everybody, like including new users, we want to have a lot of social things in there, or else like the website would become anti-social and the Discord becomes social, and it could fracture the community in a weird way. But, we're debating right now, I think, whether to release a phase 2 with only sort of solo anti-social creation for maybe the existing users, and then later coming out with a version with all the social stuff for new users, or whether we wait on all of the social stuff and then just flip it on for everybody at once. So this is kind of a debate. Don't have an answer yet, but we have the creation stuff working pretty well. We don't have the social stuff. We have the social stuff mocked up, and we have done some tests of it, but there's a lot of design and features there we have to finish still, so we don't have all that yet. So we're debating that a little bit. But the phase 1 is, so that could be like a phase 1, phase 2, or phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. We're debating the phase 2 versus phase 2 and 3. But phase 1 is nearly ready, and so that's great. It looks really nice. It's very fast. So that's good. Yeah. And the next, like, I vastly prefer it for looking through my own images. I don't even want to look through my images on the old site anymore. It's just like way better. We were going to try to fit some organization features in there, but I think we didn't have time. So now we're debating during what phase we'll add in more organization features, but we think we have some rough ideas and something to do there too. I think it got pushed out a little bit because we're redoing all the databases to make things fast. In order for the new website to be fast, like, we have like millions of people pulling billions of images. So the database side at our scale, where it's like, like non-trivial percentages of like an Instagram like scale, it's really hard, and we're a very small team. So we've had to totally redo our database stuff to make the website fast. And we want it to be really fast. So basically, what is it like to be really fast? It requires totally different database stuff. But we just got that working, so starting to feel good now. And then on the image generation side, we have sort of the short term and the long term. The short term stuff right now is looking like an upscaler, and that's the style personalization. I don't know. We were thinking of doing like a slightly better model and calling it 5.5. I'm like slightly leaning away from that right now because it's just a lot of work and could distract us from V6. But the style personalization and the upscalers are in a testing and tuning phase right now. So what that means is that the developers like me can test it so that we can start to tune it and we start to have a better understanding of it. And we're testing and tuning every single day until we're happy with it. And then we test it with the guides and mods. And then if the guides and mods are happy, we release it like almost immediately to everybody. The style customization is really fun. We've had a lot of the developers use it, and everybody really, really enjoys it. And it lets you build versions of Midjourney that have biases to styles, which are extremely difficult, maybe impossible to make with prompts right now. One of the things that we found was challenging was that we wanted to release a single personality test for everybody. But what we found was that as you kind of had your visual personalities, like the visual personality might apply to portraits differently than flowers. So it's possible. So we're currently leaning towards basically creating custom personality tests, which are sort of built around a particular prompt or maybe a certain settings. Like maybe you want high stylize or the style raw mode. And then it'll render the personality test with the particular stylization modes and the prompt so that you can perfectly tune the style to your specific project. We found that using that, it's a lot easier to get what you want. And you're basically guaranteed to get what you want. And I've made some stuff in there that I really, 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 really like. So everybody does, actually. So it seems like it's good. Unfortunately, that means that the personality tests like cost more money because you have to render them out on the fly every time you want to take them. We are going to try to make them shareable. So if somebody makes one that people like, they can share it to others. We'll see how that goes. There's a version that's shareable and a version that's not shareable. So like I can't promise that. But we're looking at potentially making them shareable. There's one kind that can definitely be shareable that we're looking at. That's the one we have most experience with. But then we have another version that might be way better, which would not be shareable, unfortunately, because it kind of does too much dynamic stuff. So we're kind of debating a little bit right now between the different versions, and we're going to prototype them out a little further. And but, you know, I think all I can say is that the stylization customization is like, as most things are, like better than we expected. And so I think if we want to go with the simple one that people can share, we might be able to release it relatively soon because we almost have everything we need there to do that. If we want to do a version that is sort of like more precise and sophisticated, it might take a little longer. So we're going to try to do some tests today or tomorrow to make a decision on whether or not we want to make it more powerful before we ship a simple version. The more powerful version may be way more powerful and also way less work. So, you know, I think it might be worth it to do that straight to that, but also maybe not. So we're doing a lot of it now. That's one of the things that I'm working on right now myself. Yeah, that technology is going to be useful for a lot of things in the future. And then there's the upscaler, and the upscaler right now we have kind of two different upscalers that both look pretty good. They're basically both one is a little bit more conservative and one is a little bit less conservative. The less conservative it looks like we're trying to get ones that can work in a variety of resolutions, going up to very high resolutions. We're trying to only make sure we do ones that can stay very faithful to the original image. Though we do want to have a mode that redoes the image more, because the more you give it the freedom to redo the image, the more it can fix the mistakes of the low resolution image. Right now, if there's sort of like an image glitch and you upscale it and ask it to be faithful, it will preserve that glitch as best it can. So it's hard to say whether I think that's a good thing sometimes and a bad thing other times. So, my goal is to have two upscalers, like a more faithful and a less faithful one, and also multiple levels of upscalers. We'll see how far we go, but I think we'll probably have at least two levels of upscalers. So one that goes to 2048, type like double, and then one that goes, I'm not sure if it can be another 50%, another 2x. But we are playing with, we've gotten a 3K by 3K, which is pretty big. We want to get to 4x4, but we're kind of still playing with that. It's not as important to get to 4x4. It's kind of like gratuitous, to be honest. But the 2x2 K is looking really good. And, well, we have two versions, and they both have advantages and pros and cons. They both look pretty good. So basically, we just have different people working on both, and we're tuning both every single day. And then at some point, we're going to feel good about it, and then we can probably ship it pretty fast. Upscalers are kind of easy because, like, they don't really behave differently for different people, whereas the style customization is a little scarier because, like, it's really different for really people because it's personalization. So, I think, and also, like, because the tests are looking like they're going to be dynamic, it'll be kind of like this weird dynamic tuning system that's unlike anything we've showed before, whereas a new upscaler kind of does an upscaler. We've had upscalers for a long time, so pretty easy. And I think both will ship pretty soon. So I think we're trying to ship both in the next 2 weeks. We'll see. We can't make any guarantees. They both involve science, and with science, you never know. But I think the important thing is that we're in this sort of tuning phase where we have good results with both, and we're tuning them, which is kind of the last phase before you go into the, like, testing externally. And we're going to try to get something out sooner rather than later. And I think those two things together with V5 will be pretty incredible, to be honest, because V5 is still capable of a lot more stylistic range than what most people have seen. If you kind of play with the stylized high and low and style raw, not style raw, you can kind of get a sense that there's a lot more range in there than is kind of default. But it's pretty hard to control, like, unless you're really good at prompting. And even if you're really good at prompting, you're probably really good at prompting in one area, like photographic styles, and probably not really good at prompting in every different area. So with the things, the sort of non-linguistic style tuning will probably open that up a lot more to everybody, and I'm really excited for that. Looks like the people will be able to share the styles digitally too, so we'll make a whole channel for that. I think it's gonna be really fun. And then, so I think that's gonna make V5 really great. We have like a partial, like, V5.5 model that we were debating about releasing, which would take it up another level in terms of coherence and quality. We're not sure if we're going to release it because it's a lot of work. And it's going to depend how V6 is going while we're getting these things out over the next 2 weeks. If V6 is going really well over the next 2 weeks as we get these things out, then we'll say, you know what, let's just go straight to V6. Because V6 will be way better than anything we can do to V5. It's going to be really good. But it takes a lot of work to get this version out, because V6 will be really, 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 really different from V5 in terms of technology. Just like how V5 was really different than V4 and V3. So the V6 will be a pretty huge jump, like totally different model, very different capabilities. It might be a bigger jump than V4 to V5. It might be more like V3 to V4, but we'll see. It's probably going to be a pretty big jump. But because of that, like, there's a lot of different pieces coming together, and it's very hard to predict the timelines. So basically, if V6 is dragging on over the next 2 weeks, we'll probably try to eke out a 5.5 incremental, because like a partial model update with the style and the upscaler will be pretty formidable. Um, Not as good as V6, but you know, I see really beautiful images with this sort of incremental one. Again, the issue is that pushing out these partial model updates is a lot of work, and it will distract from the V6. So it's not clear what the right decision is to make. So we'll basically, we're gonna try to get the 2-week thing out. We'll see how V6 is going. We'll see how people like the new 2-week things, and then we'll make a decision from there. And all this is going on while the web stuff is going on too. And so I think the thing I'm confident about is that there'll be some really great releases this month, no matter what. Will it be everything we want? Probably not. But will it be more than we expect? Definitely. And I'm excited for that. Yeah. Continuing to have like better stuff in 3D. We had some nice results this week around generating better meshes than we expected. So maybe meshes will be a thing, but we'll see. Obviously, meshes will be really good at some things and really bad at other things. We have some issues with the meshes, the mesh quality, like affecting the other visual quality. So there's definitely like a trade-off, and we're not sure if it's a good one, but we're going to keep playing with it and see if we can get everything. And 3D is not going to come out this month. I don't think it's going to come out next month either, but it might come out this year. And I think before we have a 3D that's really useful for like game development, we'll have a 3D that's just really fun just to play around with. And I think that's exciting. I think we're getting more excited about some video stuff too, but the video stuff is more of like, it feels like the data is coming together and the architecture is coming together, but we don't have a version that we're like going to ship yet. But, you know, is there a chance that like some kind of light video thing comes this year? I think so. But, you know, hard to say. It could trail a little bit into early next year. But it'll look great, I think. And then, because it's going to, you know, one of the things that's hard to appreciate is that all the 3D and video stuff that we do is going to keep building on top of the visual fidelity of our V6 and even V7 models, which are just going to look so incredibly good. It's, hard to quite wrap my head around. All I know is that it'll be really beautiful. And a little scary. Scary, beautiful. But anyway, and eventually we'll have 3D video at the same time. That would be weird, but hard to say what that feels like. Just kind of obvious that it goes there, because it's more eventually like, it's not really like a fast artist. It's more of like a slow 3D engine. And so things are going to move towards this sort of like faster and faster 3D moving engine, you know, world simulator, until eventually it just feels like this real-time high definition thing you can move around with and sort of reshape everything. So that's exciting. What else is going on? Continuing to work on mobile things, but we have a smaller mobile team right now, so it's going to take a bit longer. What else? I think that's almost it. Is that almost it? I'm like, yeah, I think that's mostly it. I feel like I'm always missing something, but yeah, there's like better describe features that we're still looking at, but the first prototype we built, what didn't work well. So we're going to try again, and then we may ask the community to help us describe images to help train a better describe. So that, you know, that might come this month, but, you know, we'll see. We have like I think we know how to make a better describe. It just looks like it's going to require like some massaging around the data or some more data help from the community. And so we'll see what happens there. There's a lot going on. I don't know if we can do everything. And I think getting V6 out is a little bit more important than the better describe right now, even though I really want to do some weird, cool features around image to text. Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. It's going to be a good month. And, one last one is we're basically taking all the yearly subscriptions from everybody who paid for a yearly subscription, and we're dumping it into servers. And I think that server build out may take until the rest of the until the end of the year. But I think by the end of the year, the amount of compute we'll be able to build out with the funding from the community will be so much that will lead to really cool new Midjourney features where basically everybody has like way more compute to throw at really intense things, whether it's like higher speed, higher resolution, video, 3D, without incurring like, a way higher cost. Might just go into bigger models, we'll see. But like, I think it'll be like, we're going to probably have 4 times more compute by the end of the year than we have right now. So that's pretty cool. And that's just because of all the people who pay like for a year up front. Basically, when you pay us month to month, which is fine. But when people pay month to month, we have to rent computers from other cloud vendors month to month. And then there's a premium on that. And sometimes also like a lack of stability because the vendor may say like, oh, we don't have computers this month. And then we run out. We have shortages, which people have seen before. But when people give us a yearly thing up front, we can actually buy out machines for a year or even buy the machines permanently. So we're doing half and half right now. Probably like half our budget will go into like actually buying the machines ourselves, and the other half will go into buying them out for a year. And then we get much better deals. We have guarantees on availability and I think just way more compute. So we're going to basically drop, all of the yearly subscription revenue into compute for the next year. And then hopefully that'll be built out by the end of this year, but we'll see. It's really hard. It turns out it's really hard to not just predict algorithm development, but data center rollouts. Kind of surprising, but it's like, yeah, like it's a lot of weird stuff happens when they're building out thousands and thousands of servers. Like, oh, we ran out of a cable. Oh, there's a power issue. And like, the network isn't working and we have to go to NVIDIA for it or something. Yeah. And so it's hard to predict, but I think our goal is like by the end of the year to have all of this new server infrastructure up. And then our cloud vendors, that we rent things from currently, like they also have way more computers by the end of the year. So it's probable that like there'll be like 10x more compute than we need by the end of the year. But what that means is that like we'll be able to start building versions of Midjourney that use like 10x more compute. So that's going to be pretty wild, whether it's like giant grids and video and 3D and really high resolution and really high speed. Like it's going to lead to a really different kind of Midjourney next year. And so I just wanted to say I'm really excited about that too. Sometimes it's software and sometimes it's hardware and sometimes it's literally infrastructure and supply chain. And the yearly subscriptions, to be honest, like it's pretty scary, like spending a lot of money as a company because we have no investors. It's just the community. And so when we didn't have the yearly subscription, we just sort of like, we can't really buy anything out for a year because like we don't know that money's going to be there. And now people paid up front, we know the money's there, and then we're like, okay, how do we take this money that the community has invested in us and basically make the best possible thing for the next year? And so and then I don't know, it kind of had to like build up to a certain amount to make us feel safe. And all I can say is that I got used, like I kind of like, it took a bit of time to get used to be honest, like this way, it's a different way of operating. And sort of at some point we're like, okay, that's a lot of yearly subscriptions. Let's buy out the compute. And we found some good partners. And yeah, we've been doing it. We did a bit of a test run. So the test run for our server compute, like gives the Pro and the Mega subscribers like faster image generation and better value per image thing. So, but it's you don't have enough yet. And so the goal is by the end of the year to have enough for everybody, so everybody gets benefits, and then we could probably have additional benefits for the Mega or Pro tiers, depending on how many people there are. Like if we have fewer servers of a special type, we can allocate those to whichever the smallest group of users is. So maybe we'll do it for features at some point too. But anyway, yeah, I think that's mostly what's going on. There might be like some slight coherence improvement in the next 5.32. We have some weird bugs though, where it's like making things better, making things worse. So we're trying to kind of dig into like why the coherence and prompt gathering following gets better for 5.3 and why it gets worse. And hopefully we'll find the bug there and get it out in the next 2 weeks. If not, it might be like a 5.4 follow-up. But basically, yeah, we're trying to not have weird trade-offs. But we'll see. Yeah, that's 30 minutes. Wow, right on the dime. It takes me usually 30 minutes to go over everything. That's pretty much what's going on. And I guess we'll take questions. I usually like to hear voices after talking for a while. So let's have some voices on the stage for a bit. Maybe we'll do 3 or 4, and then we'll do some lightning rounds.
Hi, hello, David.
Hello.
So, I've been very interested as you talk about the fun of using Midjourney, and how you conceptualize that. I ask partially because when I talk to people about my own use of Midjourney and the fact that I subscribe to it at a pretty high tier, I often tell people like that comes out of my entertainment budget. Like I do a little bit of work with Midjourney from time to time, usually on the like kind of ideation side of stuff. But frankly, I just like playing with it. And I'm curious if you've thought about, like, I don't know if that's a long-term business strategy. I don't know what that looks like in the future, but there's definitely something about being able to like create worlds as I go that's really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you that the majority of Midjourney users are using it for fun. So to the extent that it's the majority of users, like now, I think it'll be the majority of users in the future. We do have more and more commercial users coming on, but it's like the commercial use is like a very slow and lagging market. And frankly, one that like probably can't be the main thing we're catering to, because then we just have like giant sales teams and like it becomes kind of like, I think it would eat into the fun. So I think the way I think about it for myself is, once upon a time, there was a smartphone company that was focused on businesses called BlackBerry. And then there is, the iPhone. And weirdly, like no one, it used to be business people were like, I'm using BlackBerry. It's the best phone. But for some reason, like being a fun phone that's enjoyable to use ended up being more important than being like a slightly better typing experience with slightly better, like security or something. So I think that the AI space will be similar, where the sort of the joy of using the thing will dominate over the sort of pure productivity elements of it. And so, especially because like most creative endeavors involve like flow and play and joy and just the feeling of it, it's like, you could argue that like there is an email client which is not fun to use but is pure productivity or something, or like a filing cabinet. But I think the goal is to, I think that that's not as true with, I think that shouldn't be true with creative tools. It should feel nice to use, and it should be a process of exploration. Yeah, there are definitely
argue that Gmail kind of like blew up because it was actually fun and good to use compared to all the other email clients at the time.
Yeah, and I think that's like generally the right way to go. I think there's definitely an argument for like some version of an image system where it has like ultimate control. But the problem is like, it's weird because like most creative people, I think, are creative through play. And there's some small percentage of creative people who are like these movie director where they like know every detail of the scene ahead of time. I don't know if that's real. Like, obviously those are real people, but I don't know. Like, there's a lot of people who say that, like, that almost everything good that's built in the world is not built through this idea, through this concept of that everything ahead of time, but through exploration and play. And so there's an argument that that's like the idea that you know exactly what you want is maybe actually not true. But then obviously you want to be able to kind of hone in on what you want, but I don't know. I feel a little bit mixed around the controllability, the sort of hyper control version of these things, and I think that we definitely want more control over time. But the problem is that we only have so much development resources. So these sort of like obsessive control features can come at the cost of the play and the cost of the general creativity of the system. And so, right now I'm definitely more focused on the play side.
Mm-hmm.
I think at some point, if that levels off, then we go really deep into the control side. But I think that we're definitely more on the play than on the control. I don't know, the serendipity versus control, and that sort of play versus work. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I think that's like there's a trade-off there. That's what I feel most comfortable with, though. Like personally,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really. It's not fully rational, but yeah. And also, like to be honest, like I feel really good if like some famous person uses Midjourney to figure out to like or like it's cool if like some giant company uses Midjourney. And I've heard about like huge companies, some of the biggest companies in the world, like literally pulling up Midjourney in the middle of a board meeting and brainstorming, and that's
Right.
like kind of cool. But I somehow feel a little better when I see somebody using Midjourney who maybe had like no other creative outlet in their life and no other creative community to talk to, and now they have this sort of like they have this beautiful and intense like freedom and reflection like and power that they didn't have before. And so yeah, I mean for those people, this sort of play and non-professional thing is like kind of everything, you know? And yeah, I mean that like speaks to me more again. And again, I don't really know why, but yeah, it just feels more important, you know? Probably the part of the reason may be is that like a lot of the existing institutions are not necessarily going to absorb these things in perfectly efficient or fast ways, but the people who are just kind of um who maybe have all this desire and don't necessarily have an outlet will like explore and figure things out faster and better than everybody else, you know? Like they
Right.
care more too in a weird way. Um, I don't know. It's not purely rational, but like I see these trade-offs, and so I go more towards the play and the more unprofessional people, even though like the professional is increasing, and I see good things about that, you know. But but it like they might literally come down to um, a non-professional person is like, I really want to get it. I really want to like have like these bigger patches to play and explore the space more. And the professional people are saying, we want enterprise seat management and extra security features.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, like if I had infinite engineers, maybe we would do both. But I think, yeah, kind of like coming to work every day and enjoying what you're doing. Like we're definitely focusing on the fun, exciting things first that kind of help us figure out what things are, before we like build out enterprise seat management, which is obviously important, but you know, uh, not necessarily as spiritually. It's sort of like operationally important, but not like spiritually important. And kind of going with the more. There's an argument that has sort of like a more like creative and humanistic, like research lab. We should be more guided towards the sort of beautiful, spiritually fulfilling things than the sort of like operational, like seat management. Some people don't even know what seat management is. Enterprise seat management is you have like 100 people that you want to use Midjourney, but if you fire one of them, you want to be able to take their Midjourney subscription away and give it to someone else. And people literally approach me with this, and I'm like, fuck you, just like buy an extra Midjourney subscription, if you are hiring another person. And then if you fire them, like, why are you like just like deal with losing $500? Like, who cares? You know? But like for a lot of big companies, they have like a process for acquiring software and managing seat lists. And, it feels super fucking lame.
Yeah,
But like
it's
obviously
product
those are
management.
real companies building real things. So you can't just say like fuck the entire world, But it's definitely not exciting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so
All
if
right.
I
Long
can,
answer. Just try to give a sense of like the sort of direction and why we think about things.
no, that was exactly what I was hoping for. I really appreciate it. I'll take the stage away in just 1 second here. I was just going to say that, I was thinking about it as you were talking, and I've been playing with Dolly 3 a little bit as it's sort of like become kind of like previewed and Bing and stuff, and it's a lot less fun. To your point, even though it's so steerable and that steerability can be really nice sometimes, I think you're right. It's less fun. At the same time, the one thing I really do appreciate about it is the ability of once I find something I like to hone in further to that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I think the Dolly 3 version that's coming out.
Very helpful about the
You broke up. I actually didn't know you were still talking. Can you repeat yourself?
Oh, I was just saying, I think yeah, sorry, I'm in Alaska. My internet's bad. Go ahead. It was nothing that important. I think you got the
Well,
gist.
yeah, I mean, I think like on paper, the way that you iterate with a chatbot in the ChatGPT Dolly 3 version that's not released yet, it looks cool. I haven't tried it yet. Um, I don't know many people. I don't think many people have access to that version yet. Like conceptually, it seems cool. I'm curious how well it works in practice and how it feels. One of the challenges that we've seen in doing chat stuff is that like the latency matters a lot more. So like our current versions are more focused on quality than on speed. So if you just put our stuff in a chat system, it takes 60 seconds to make pictures. It doesn't feel good. We've tried versions of like 15 seconds too, and it also doesn't feel good. It seems like you want it to be like 5 seconds or less. And so one of the things we're trying to do with our future versions of our models is to make it better at giving you rough drafts, so that maybe in some kind of iterative flow, it could iterate with a rough draft really fast and then render it out really fine when you're done. But our current system doesn't do that very well. Neither does Dolly 3. So I think that seems necessary to build something really good like that. But we'll see. We're kind of playing with it.
Yeah, I would
It's
love
hard to
that.
say like how much people should be iterating on images with words versus like without words. So my personal belief is that it makes more sense to iterate on big grids of images than on small grids with words. Like big grids non-verbally than small grids verbally. So in that case, the future version of Midjourney would be to like show you a huge grid, and then you pick the ones you like, and then it iterates on that. You could put words in too, but the idea is that like putting in more, like being able to pick from a large set of images is helps a lot of people more than trying to have the exact word you want. But particularly because like younger people like really struggle to use the words to tune things because they literally don't have the word to explain what they want it to be different. But so I'm leaning more towards these sort of like big grid iterations than the conversational ones. However, I think there's something like I think that it's not necessarily about conversational UIs to me. It's about having something that's really, really, really fast where you could like, if we had something that was really fast that worked for conversation, we could also have like sliders and things like that too, where you could iterate in a variety of ways. So you could say like, hey, I want to make it more colorful. And then it gives you a slider and you literally slide it and it like changes it in real time, you know? So like,
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting.
The thing about young people is so interesting. I mean, it probably also applies to people with like English as a second language and that kind of thing too, of like folks who can't express what they want and giving them like nonverbal ways to do it is I hadn't thought of that before.
Yeah, we find people really struggle with language. And I think this is one misperception around ChatGPT in general, which is that like, um, people are going to Midjourney to express themselves and explore, whereas a lot of people go to ChatGPT to literally just not write something, like G on some homework. And so, like, your ability to write doesn't have to be as good for ChatGPT because you're usually trying not to write. Whereas it's like I think the current consumer product is almost around trying to not do something than to do something. And I think with Midjourney, there's this like you're trying to do something and you're trying to explore in a way that like it comes down to expressibility in a weird way. And so the question is like, language is expressible but not necessarily universally accessible. And so when you're trying to figure out like the way to increase the expressibility of the visual system, I think giving people like really big, wide varieties of things is probably more in the right direction to go. Yeah, and it's easy to say like people should just know words, but it's interesting because like the art field historically has words for styles like Art Deco, Expressionism, but somewhere around like, I don't know exactly the date, like 50 years ago, people just stopped naming things. And there aren't names now for most of the visual styles. Sometimes they'll say like in the style of this artist or that artist, but we kind of just stopped naming things. And so there's a strong argument that if we're going to explore more modern things and create new things, we like if you want to create a style no one's ever made, like how much of that is like nudging things and blending things than it is like naming things. I mean, cool to like make up new words. So like one of my favorite things with words is being able to make up a word, like flower punk or something. But I don't know. We'll see. But like I think I think I would say we're keeping a very close eye on how much iterative conversational user interfaces work for people. But in our early testing, it like doesn't seem like the right way to go. However, we're very open-minded, and if we see people having a good time in a conversational interface anywhere else, we'll be like, okay, what does a really good version of that look like? So that's I think how we currently feel.
Cool. Well, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks so much for letting me take some time up here. I hope one day I can come work for you guys as well. I love what you're building so much and the way you talk about humanist systems and everything. It's really great to see and to do these big public stages. So yeah, thank you again.
Sure. Thank you. I would say like I've been just playing with making styles recently at the style personalization, and I ended up with this style that I would have never come to with words and also could never name. So like I'm definitely seeing like new styles from the stylization system that just like feel really cool, and I'm like, damn, I wouldn't have been able to make that with a conversational interface. Hello.
Hello, David. Thanks a lot for having asked the question. I have been our guest for the last 2 weeks, and for the last week, I was thinking about why, in comparison to other labs, you value the community so much more than other labs. So, what could you give us a little bit more insight? What's your reasoning behind it? And maybe is the answer already what you answered in the last question? So that would be very exciting to learn more why you value the community so much more than other labs.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're building things for people, and you are our people, so we need to talk to you. I think a lot of other AI labs are like building things for investors, so they talk to their investors a lot, or they're building things for corporate customers, they talk to them a lot, but they're not necessarily building things for people, so it's not as important to them. So like whatever's the most important, you're going to take time for, and the most important thing is people, and like, so we're like, the most important thing is for us to talk to like the community every week. And like most of the companies talk to their investors or their B2B customers every single week because that's the most important thing to them. And so whatever is second or third most important usually drops further down the ladder. Yeah. You could say the community is also the investors. So like maybe I'm talking to my investors now, but I don't really like to think of that way. That's like, I prefer more of like this collaborative thing and we're all sort of in it together, you know?
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not really investors. I think the reason why the community is not the investors because it's not like they're putting in money and then getting more money out. It's more of like the community is the customers because they're paying for goods and service. But I think I don't really like customer either because it kind of creates this like weird subservient thing, and I think that we really do want to hear from people, and the things that people think really does affect like what we build. So it's almost like the community is more like part of the team, and like I listen to the community. Like I would say we listen to the community like as much or more than we like as we do to our own team. So if not everyone on the team uses Midjourney every day. But you know, yeah. But like they're still doing important stuff. Like you shouldn't have these Midjourney every day to help. Like some people are just literally making it run. I'm like very grateful for people who wake up in the middle of the night to fix things when things go down. Yeah, I mean, some of you use Midjourney a lot more than us, so like literally we should be listening to you, right? It's amazing that like most of the AI labs, they literally don't use their models at all, like zero, and then they never speak to people who use them. And so that's one of the reasons why like a lot of it can feel kind of aesthetically dead and incoherent at a product level. Hello?
Hi. Sorry,
Oh, just,
I was just respecting your time.
oh, thank you.
So I kind of have a question that you've probably heard at least 1,000 times in this last 2-week period because of OpenAI's recent release of DALL-E 3 to Bard. But when can we expect, or is there some insight on a Midjourney model that will be able to produce coherent text in the future?
Yeah, it seems very likely the next version will. We already have test versions of our V6 that has Midjourney, like, that has text like as good or better than the other stuff. I think the thing that we don't know yet, so like from a technical standpoint, it's pretty easy. We know how to do it. We've already done it internally. The question is, when we put it into the final big thing, will it have like unintended consequences that we want to pull back in some way? So historically, one of the reasons why, like the current model, actually we push it away from text on purpose because we find that undesired text is really bad. Looks like I may need to grab a water. I'm still kind of pushing my voice a lot here. Still overcoming something. But
All good.
yeah, so I think one of our big questions is like, can we make it so it only does text when people want text, and can we avoid undesired? We might put a parameter in there. That's like one idea. So like it's like by default there's no text, but if you put something in quotes, like turns it on, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say, because before you said the second part of your sentence, you're like, how are we going to figure out a way to like get a perimeter for that? And I was like, you could do that, like, you know, put the parentheses, because that seems like a very like a way that would be good, I guess. But
so our current plan is to put it in, hope it works. If it doesn't work perfectly, like try to enforce it with the parameter or quotes. And then if that still doesn't work and it turns out like having text in there is like fucking with the model in other ways, maybe we push it out. But I think it'll make it in.
yeah, And I love how you guys question everything and take your time on getting stuff done, because instead of just trying to push it out really fast, because I respect people that like to take time to get things perfect before they release it to the public.
Yeah, I mean, we've had some really weird bugs in the past with text. Like one of my favorite was we would ask it for a picture of a person, and it literally drew a person in the shape of an A, or it did a superhero with an A on their chest. It's like a person, and like that's kind of scary because if it does stuff like that, like it's funny, but if it does stuff like that too much, it's really aggravating.
Yeah, and then people are gonna be like, "Oh, why is it doing this? I'm just trying to get like a specific image, and it's using up my time." You know, some people might have a problem with that as well.
Yeah, or like sometimes if it sounds like the name of a book, it'll actually make a book cover, and that's really bad because people don't really want book covers. So stuff like weird things like that, like there are like bad side effects of text, or sometimes they'll like do subtitles even, and like it's it's or like yeah. So like we've been a little bit even now sometimes if you say it's like in the style of an artist, sometimes it'll like it's not a real artist. It'll sometimes make a signature in the corner with the name of that fake artist name. Like so, I think we tried to fix that, but like. Yeah, I think our hope is that, like we know how to technically do it, and now our hope is that when we put it into like a big scale full model, that it won't have any bad side effects, or that if it does, we can fix them with a couple of hacks. I would say there's like a 90% chance that it gets in and that we can fix it. There's like a 10% chance we like leave it out because there's some bad side effect and we're like, fuck this. And then push it to later. We could also have two models. That's like the other argument is that we like, we just have like a version that does text, a version that doesn't do text. So when they do the quotes, we flip to that. But that's like more work and would take more time. So we'll see what happens. But from a technical standpoint, we know exactly why the current system doesn't do it. We already build versions that do it. Like we know exactly, we understand the problem very well at this point. So yeah. So we'll see what happens. So I would say like 100% chance that there's a text version this year, but like, does V6 have like full text everything? I think we're going to prioritize aesthetics and like over that first. So if it turns out that the text hurts the aesthetics in some way, we would delay it for like a month or two.
All right. Thanks.
But hopefully, I think everything will just work. So I'm kind of giving you like the full deal.
Sounds great. Thank you for explaining that in detail as well.
Thank you.
All right.
David,
Hello.
how are you?
I'm good.
I'm kind of here on the opposite side of the guy before the last guy, where he was asking why he cares so much about the community, I guess.
Yeah, it's amazing how many people tell me to like stop caring about the community, stop doing social, like just make an anti-social thing, and like it was just like not everybody hates people. Not everybody hates people, and like there's a lot of people who do, and honestly, like there are times where I don't blame them. But like if we're not doing it for people, who are we doing it for?
You don't have to be around people. So like let the people have some fun.
Yeah.
You know? So I was speaking of that, I was wondering if you could tell me a bit more about maybe what you're expecting out of the social stuff in phase 2 of the website. Sorry, I'm a little sick. Because I'd love to know what's going to be happening over there as opposed to what happens here on Discord.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to give too much away there right now, but I think our goal is to make it so that eventually if somebody decides they are using Midjourney without Discord, that the social experience we can give them is as good or better than what we can currently give people on Discord. So that's a pretty tall order. So we're not going to rip off Discord. like it doesn't feel good when we play with that as a concept, but we're trying to do some social stuff on the website, which is kind of like if you rethought all of Discord specifically around Midjourney, and that's all that mattered. And so, like, I mean, it's not really, again, if we copy Discord, I think it's going to be worse. So we have to basically rethink it from scratch. Like, first principles, what's good on Discord, what's not good on Discord, what is this thing, how do we get, like, eventually a standalone platform that's literally better in every single way.
Right.
I mean, it's
Sorry,
possible
my
to
food
be
went.
successful there and that Discord will be better. And I mean, Discord is obviously better in terms of like, if you have a small server with your friends, you play games, like you want to put Midjourney into that. I don't think we can beat that. But
Feeling.
can we have like a better prompt battle experience on a website? Yeah, definitely we could, you know?
Yeah.
And like,
We've
could
actually
we
been
have
building tools for it outside of like the realm of having a bot. I have like a bunch of really good people that come every week, and like Mal's Bear built a clock. I want you to see it. It's so good. It's got like the Midjourney sailboat goes across the screen as the time goes down, and it looks almost like the website, login page where it's flowy oceans of blue text on blue text or on blue background.
that's like good.
Really cool.
I want to see
and
something.
then I definitely will. But also, I was just asking about what were you thinking about Halloween this year? You doing anything good?
Good question. Somebody invited me to a Halloween party, so I'm probably gonna go to at least one. I have cat ears now from Burning Man, so I'll probably go as a cat.
I really want to see that.
Like, share this photo. It will be a photo that appears to me forever. Maybe just to you. Maybe I'll send it to you. So
Okay.
I have like a really cute beanie that has like cat ears. And I don't know how to describe. It sounds dumb, but it's like a really good beanie with really good cat ear. It just like looks real. I found like the perfect one, and I mostly just wear that. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I
can't wait. I can't wait.
also have like glowing cat ears, that light up. So that's been kind of a fun one too. So I'll do some kind of like I'll do some kind of cat boy themed outfit. I'm not sure what that means. I don't really like wearing a tail. It just doesn't. Kind of feels weird because you can't
So
sit.
excited.
But at the very least, I can have cat ears. I should probably have one more thing besides cat ears. I'm not sure. Maybe like what's like a cat necklace. I'm not sure.
Get yourself like a like one of those cool, jackets that are like long in the back, and then they have like all the buttons in the front, something like Michael Jackson would wear. I don't know.
I feel like I need like one more accessory. I need like one more. Maybe I get like a catnip ball I wear around my. I'm kidding. Like I'm not sure. I need like one more thing.
Chase it around all night.
A collar. Oh, a collar would be intense. I've never worn a collar. Yeah,
I can't wait.
I need like one more accessory. Yeah, I'll think
I
about it.
really want to do some Halloween themed stuff on here, like for the community. Speaking of community, you think anything like that could happen?
Halloween communities. I mean, I'm open to ideas, so you could throw
I
something.
definitely want to do a prompt battle Halloween day.
Really, can do that. Yeah, do it. Yeah.
That's like at the very least, but yeah, I'm definitely. There's a few people in the chats that really got into the idea of like doing some things. There's like a list of things that they want to do, but and I want to do, but that's that's on you. And the people in charge. And I really, really, really am excited about seeing that cat ears on you. Amazing.
Yeah. Someone asked
But
me.
thank you for always keeping the community in mind, by the way. Like, I kind of got, I was like, why not the community? What the heck?
Yeah, I just think it's like, yeah, it's like kind of feels like everything to me, but yeah. I was into some antisocial people. So I have to like, I have to have like a non-zero amount of respect for antisocial people, right? But at the same time, like social stuff is hard. Because some percentage of the community is antisocial, right? But yeah, try to have. I mean, I like them that they're not antisocial; they're just like shy, and they'll be less shy over time. You know?
feel like I feel like you don't have to use every app you have on your phone.
Also, like even
And
people who are antisocial, they like seeing the other Midjourney prompts. They're like, "Oh, what's that from?" You know?
yeah, I mean, how would you like to not be able to scroll through the community feeds and see what other people are prompting and how they're getting it? Because I feel like that's incredibly educational.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna make that a lot better too. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah. I'm hoping for like there's so many. I think like a lot of people are having like big dreams about what the new site's going to be, and I really, really am excited. And I just wanted to come up and say thank you for always keeping it community, and I hope you have the best week.
Thank you.
And don't forget to send me that because I really want to see it.
In 5 years, yeah. I really need to find my one more accessory. I need to like anybody has ideas for accessories besides cat ears. Yeah.
I'm
What's
gonna
my
think.
idea? Plus one more thing. Yeah. I'm not a people are asking me about furry. I'm not a furry, but I'm very friendly to furries and I have furry friends.
Mhm.
Like so. Yeah, I think that furries are just people who are ahead of the curve on avatar technology. And
I
if
hope
like
you.
if Mark Zuckerberg really understood VR, he would be all in on furries. And this is the reason why Meta can never win VR is because they're scared of furries. Like, well, I mean, I think there were really two paths for the Oculus Rift. One was like they built something that's just like basically built around Beat Saber. Not that it would only be for Beat Saber, but like what's like the best possible Beat Saber like headset.
Yeah.
And the other one would be like go all in on like furry Pilates.
People that try to hide their
Like if people aren't doing,
oh, sorry.
like if people aren't doing like furry yoga classes in the Facebook VR app, then the Facebook VR has failed. Like it's like one of those two. Basically, those are the only two options you have for VR right now. Is you either go like furry yoga classes or like full Beat Saber, like world, like death championship. Like if it's not like a StarCraft tournament with like the giant arena, you know,
Yeah.
like if there isn't a giant arena for people actually doing Beat Saber, or there isn't like everyone, or there isn't like furries doing yoga together. It's like those are the only two successful outcomes for VR right now. There will be something else one day, but like I think right now, like I think because no one's embracing either of those, like that's really what's holding it back. It's like
Definitely.
full physical ear sports or full furry.
Yeah, because I mean, alter egos and personas are such a huge part of like the internet and why it feels safe for some people. And
Well, like, Facebook is literally going all into like realistic looking avatars. It's like the opposite. It's the opposite of furries.
it's the opposite of what a lot of people
I
on the
want to
internet
look
want.
exactly like me for my enterprise Zoom meeting, but in VR. It's like literally the worst.
That's why Second Life was such a big thing.
Yeah.
Like because
Second Life is actually still big. Like Second Life hasn't gotten bigger over the years, but it's very stable and
Yeah.
very locally. It's like, and actually, like Second Life generates a lot of revenue. Even it's like a very successful business. It just never got to be like. It never got to be really, really huge, but it actually like is very stable and a lot of money. It's like basically like it's a stable, yeah. It's a stable, successful community. But the question is like, yeah, what does Second Life have to be like 10x bigger, right? I think that's a little, that's definitely different, but like, and it's possible that the purely virtual worlds will, never be as big, but like, they'll definitely be bigger. Like, yeah, what's the maximum?
somewhere between, does Second Life even use like VR headsets yet? Because I
No,
feel like
well, there was another version of Second Life that did, but in general, like the only successful Second Life like things are ones that work really well for furries.
Yeah.
I mean, there are a lot of furry
I
things in Second Life, but I'm saying I think the Second Life VR one, there wasn't like really good furry support. You couldn't
You
like
know
put
more
in.
furry support in the world, guys. Like, I mean, the guy who supports furries the most is probably going to run the world.
Yeah, I mean, there's one social VR platform that's literally run by furries, so that one, that one maybe that's the one that's gonna win. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, I mostly use VR chat if I need to use one. But yeah, the other one was Neos VR. I think they're changing their name now. There's like a bit of a restructure, but yeah, like they're it's like run by furries. It's like the main programmers are furries. It's like full furry domination. Which, I mean, maybe that's going too far. It's like interesting to ask. Like, will the best virtual world be literally run by furries, or is it just going to be furry friendly? I see pros and cons there. But if it's not furry
Furry and
friendly,
domination next to each other.
yeah, I mean, if it's not at least like
Fireworks up
extremely
in my-
furry friendly community, well, I think the answer is like not everyone's going to be a furry, so
but,
that's
like,
important to
it's
consider.
really understanding of like furries, and I think that like once you establish, what like is the least acceptable in society, and say, hey, we're here for these people. Everyone feels welcome,
Yeah, I mean, I think if it's not welcoming for furries, it's not really welcome. It's not really not really welcoming, right?
Yeah.
It's
It's like, how cringe can you be like deep down inside, and like you want to know that whatever you do that you think, might be like a what's it called? Like a dirty little secret that you have that's not necessarily dirty. What's the word that people use for that?
Yeah. Well, but I think it's like I also think that like furries are kind of like the beginning of these sort of avatar-driven subcultures, and like there's
Yeah.
probably going to be like right now, like I mean, furries have to have fur, so there's like a really long time ago, I think what was it? It was like I don't know if this is true. But I think it was like otherkin, like it had like a broader concept, and there were like dragons and other things, and nowadays I think they like split it off. Like there's furries, and they call the other one the furries call the other one scalies. But it's like not totally all friendly, and like the ones that do animals have kind of like dominated. But like hypothetically, there should be, like a much more diverse world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably be in the dragon group personally, but I mean I really like cats, but historically when I was a kid I was like I like the dragon avatar. I mean I guess my fucking avatar in Discord is still a dragon, so look at me, I'm the same as a 14-year-old. It's literally like what if I had to be not a dragon?
If you had to be not a dragon, would you be a cat?
I like cats. I like owls too. I'd be like an attitude. I feel like I'd be like an owl with an attitude, or I don't know what kind of cat I'd be. The problem is that I kind of like all owls, but I don't like all cats. Like in terms of visual.
Owls on your head.
What? Oh yeah, I
Like
think.
owls.
Yeah, when the owl was, I went to this owl cafe in Japan, and the owl landed on my head. But the reason why I didn't like the owl on my head was because the thing has huge claws, fucking terrifying. Like it was like it felt like I was in
You
danger.
bet.
It felt like I was in
Oh.
danger. But I mean, it was fine. Like I knew I wasn't, but like physiologically, it's like a giant bird of prey with its claws on your head. Danger, danger.
Yeah.
But because you can feel them, like you can,
Oh, I bet.
yeah. I mean, owls are
Have you
cool.
ever seen an owl's leg?
Yeah, it's possible I should be like a cat owl. Like if I was gonna go, like I should like blend them together, right? Like an owl with cat ears. I haven't tried this yet. This is gonna be something I want to try later in Midjourney. I don't know if it's an owl cat or a cat owl. This is an interesting question.
Owl. Either a cow or an
Wool or an oat. Yeah, I'm not sure. I feel like I'm somewhere between a cat and a bird. But I don't know. So I think I'd have to like explore that. I'd explore that,
Keep being a dragon.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's possible I should combine a dragon and an owl and a cat. Like a dragon with cat ears and like owl feathers. Oh my god, the owl cat in the prompt chat is so cute. Holy shit. Holy shit. That is the cutest cat owl. Please share the prompt.
I need to see it.
Clarinet posted a cat owl in the VC text. It is so cute. Holy shit.
Is it gonna be your new?
No, it doesn't quite feel like me. It doesn't quite feel like me, but I love it. I love it, but it's not quite me yet, but it feels better than I expected. Oh, it's a meowl.
Meow. Why am I so loud? What happened?
It was just a good idea.
I love it. Amazing. And
I'll be a meowl. Yeah.
I'm sure there are people waiting, and I don't want to dominate all the time you have.
Favorite prompts of all time. I don't think it works in V5. I think it worked really well in V4 or something else, but it was like a peacock owl, and it had like this owl with like shimmering peacock feathers, and it was really gorgeous. So I'd probably try to be like a cat owl with like glimmering peacock feather, like really like sort of this sort of prismatic feathers, and I might need some kind of dragon thing too. I don't know what dragon means. Like maybe it's like dragon wings. I'm not sure. Like yeah, like dragon wings, like owl feathers, cat ears, prismatic feathers. We'll see.
I hope you know I'm be prompting this all night to try to come up with something perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the Midjourney 5 can do it, but maybe Midjourney 6. We'll get there. We're adding in a lot more data around like dragons and unicorns and like, you know, whatever the other thing was, centaurs. So hopefully it gets better.
Wonder if this will be the prompt of the day.
Anyway, thanks everybody.
Right.
All right.
Have a great day, David, and I'll see you next time.
Talk to you later.
Thanks. Bye.
Or do one more voice. Do one more voice, and then we're gonna do a lightning round.
Going, David.
Hello.
So you made a distinction earlier. I was just curious about, because you were saying that you were kind of making this distinction between control and play, which doesn't quite make sense to me. Because to me, like, play is universally control. Like, why do you play with crayons or Play-Doh, or you dump out a toy box, the kid's gonna control the toys, you know? Or
Yeah.
this all.
No, valid. I think it might be more of like exploring versus controlling, you know, or wandering versus controlling.
Well, for me, it seems like the main distinction is like how intuitive the control is. You know, if it's like easy and natural, then you're like have a lot of fun doing the thing. But if you have to fight against it, or just take a literal like sketch from a client, maybe that's the prompting of the human is also prompting. But you know,
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the problems is that like a lot of creative interfaces are very minimalistic, or they sometimes even have constraints, you know? Like, and so, and it's hard, like a lot of writing interfaces are very minimal. But then like, music interfaces are hyper maximalist, where there's like a million fucking dials. It takes you 3 years to learn them. There's like a spectrum of creative tools, and then there's some that are literally limited, like Twitter as a medium is like limited. But if it wasn't limited, it wouldn't work, you know?
yeah. Like the thing that seems obvious is like, you know, we all have these devices in our pocket with touch screens, and you know, the jump from MS-DOS to, you know, Windows, one of the big things is being the mouse, just being able to like touch things and move them around, or like, you know, click on someone's face and just say, make her smile, you know, or something like that. Like things that just feel natural, that you can interact with the image in a playful way. That seems like that is a version of control that is just playful and fun and you know, approachable to everyone.
Yeah. I mean, I can't really do everything. So right now, like more focused on as the like ancient Zhuangzi Chinese Taoist text would say, like free and easy wandering. And then I definitely see a reason to eventually like add in a lot of fucking knobs, like a music interface.
Yeah.
But I just honestly, like I have all the knobs. And to be honest, it doesn't feel good. Like, there are like too many knobs. It leads to paralysis. And then you end up just not touching them. At least for me,
Yeah.
right? And like, maybe I can build better knobs, but like, the knobs are like, there's a lot of knobs. And I think, I know some people like knobs, but just like, yeah. Like, I all I can say is that I have access to a lot of knobs, and we do internally broadly, and we avoid them. Like, they kind of like destroy your ability to understand the system. Because like, if you have one knob, it's okay, but if you have 40 knobs, you need like 2 years. But the fact is that nothing's stable for 2 years. Like, maybe once things stabilize, then we put 40 knobs in. But right now, if we put in a lot of knobs, it would literally take you longer to learn them than the model would be relevant. And
Yeah, I don't think
some people could be like, I'll be on V5 for 2 years, but no, you won't.
I don't think I'm as like for me the idea of knobs or menus are a problem right now, and it seems like AI should be a solution to menus where we don't need knobs and menus. We can literally just request the thing. We can point, we can request, we basically get rid of as many knobs as possible, but have the thing respond just by understanding us on some level, in the way that these things understand us on some level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but just like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like when say saying like, I just want it to understand me, I think that's. I don't think a lot of people understand themselves, or they understand what they want, and so I think the question is how do you help? How do you build sort of a collaborative thing where it helps you find what you want? And so I think right now I mostly imagine doing that non-verbally rather than verbally. But I think eventually making it, so we're working on this like visual iterative interface, and so the idea is you create your prompt and then you iterate visually. You could certainly use that interface and change the prompt, but and then like go back or stay at that level. So I think that'll be really good. Certainly I think like prompt understanding will get better a lot over time, but again, I just don't think that prompt understanding is the key, because it's just really hard to express what you want with words sometimes,
I totally agree on that, and actually that's part of the reason I was kind of talking about the pointing and dragging type thing. Is I think anyone can pretty much intuit that, like, I don't want that there. They can tap on it and say, I don't want that. You know what I mean? But saying, or make that bigger or something, like, when it's super simplified and you're based on what you're tapping on, then it becomes, you can skip a lot of steps and still have a lot more control. Whereas the prompt thing is like, you're sitting there trying to figure out how to describe a thing. And like you're saying, not everyone knows how to do it, but a child can pick something up and move it to a different location, or move their phone down if it had some sort of like motion ability to move the camera or something. Those kinds of things where it's just a natural reaction, as opposed to trying to use this language stuff to fix everything.
Yeah, eventually people will be able to like move stuff around. I think right now it wouldn't be the most important thing, because like the compositional ability of the models will probably be better than like 90 to 99% of people.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's a 1% of people who have better compositional ability, but like we can't design the product around them at day one, So I think we want to
more on the play part than the composition, I guess. But
yeah, I think that all of these are things that will eventually happen, but in the short term, like, we just can't do everything, and a lot of these things are actually really hard. We're just trying our best.
Sounds good. Yeah,
It's just the way that we go for it. I think it's like, if we can do like, what are the fewest number of features which will address the largest number of issues, and then we basically start from there. So like the ability to customize styles will address a huge variety of issues. The ability to have higher resolution, And then a lot of these other features, like I want to be able to pose like a person specifically with a skeleton. Like that's great, but it doesn't solve like a huge, it's a smaller set, right? So we basically have to like sort things it's a combination of like, we sort things by what we feel like will solve the most issues. And then we also do surveys in the community and see what they like. So I was ranking, say, like, for example, folders really low. But like over and over and over again, people ask for folders to organize their images so fucking much. That's like bumped it up on the priority.
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
Makes sense.
it's not like 1% of people ask for folders. It's like 80 or 90%. So like that's crazy at that point. I'm like, okay. Everyone wants their folders.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you can't just ask somebody like, do you want folders or not? But it's like rank these features,
Yeah, though if you don't ask someone and they can suddenly just grab someone's hand and move it over onto the keyboard and they go, "Oh shit, that's fun." Like they may not choose that one, but once it happens, I don't know if they'd want to go back,
It's true. So that's how we balance it, right? So some things we do is we ask for surveys, and then some things we're like, well, we actually know what this is going to be like based off our like increased access to to systems. And so, my number one thing right now that I would say people like that they're not aware that they're going to like is the giant grids and style personalization, because I've had access to big grids for almost 2 years. Like I rendered like 20,000. Like I did my first render of like 20,000 images. So like I did like a permutation thing and then like rendered 20,000 images, like maybe 30,000, like 2 years ago. And that was fucking incredible. And it's still not something I can give people access to because like rendering tens of thousands of images is just too much.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, and then every single day when I do my work for Midjourney, I only do 64 image grids.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's so much better. So like, and everybody at Midjourney, after working on it for a few weeks, they all go to 64 grids. We can do any grid size we want.
Yeah.
We can do 4x4, 8x8, 12x12, and pretty much everybody converges to 8x8. Actually, everybody. I would say 100% converge to 8x8. And we've been doing it for years, and we know that that's the thing that everybody should have.
Well, I'm kind of skeptical, so you should turn it on for me too, so I can just see if
Yeah.
good, Just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like the current system doesn't actually generate that much variety in a 2x2 grid. And the reason for that is if we generate too much variety, then you might get a style you like, but not the image you like. And so we reduce the diversity of a 2x2 grid so that you're likely that if the style is what you like, you get the image you like on one shot. And as you have bigger grids, you can ask it for a much larger, much more diverse set of images. And then you get these sort of like diamonds that you would never get otherwise. Just almost every time. And so it makes sense, right? Like the probability you like is 1 in X. And then if you increase your batches, you're more likely to hit your X.
Yeah, I mean, since you mentioned that a long time ago, I was like, yeah, that sounds like that would help a lot. And I think most of my reason for even coming up was just the demonization of the control thing, because I've made an insane number of images, and at this point, the thing that would make it more fun is the more control, because I would be able to play in a more interesting, a different way than I've been playing with however many 100,000 images.
I mean, the style personalization will feel like a huge amount of control.
Yeah,
we'll have better prompt
I'm excited
understanding.
for that.
That'll help too. Yeah, so better prompt understanding and the style personalization are the two biggest things that are coming up next. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, those will be pretty good. We'll see we kind of have to take it one step at a time. But I think right now, if it's like more prompt understanding, or like what do you want? I mean, people really want like better prompt understanding with small prompts. Like I want Batman versus Superman. That's really like not necessarily those specific superheroes, but like 2 characters.
Yeah.
That's ranked extremely highly by the users. So when people do a short prompt but don't get exactly what they want, like that's really bad. But I think really long descriptive prompts is ranked a lot more low for people because most people don't want to write those.
Oh no, yeah, I don't actually want. At this point, I would like to talk to my machine as little as possible. Really, like I'm kind of burnt out on typing and writing. If I can get what I want quicker, and actually, again, that's why I like the idea of using motion or other control inputs to adjust things, because it just sounds more fun than continuing to say words. But also, if it could do it in less words, that would obviously make that process less strenuous or less testing and stuff to find the thing I want.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably like before we have anything that lets you just like move an object around, we'll probably have a version that lets you draw and like work in drawing space. Because
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I'm stoked for that.
I'm gonna build something for people with more skill. I'm gonna build something for people who can draw. Because right now, like Midjourney doesn't like we don't really show a compelling vision of the future for people who really enjoy like that degree of physicality.
Yeah.
But I think that that's important to do. And the problem, I wish we could do the drawing earlier. The real problem is just that like really good drawing is like a lot of fucking work. And so we're moving towards it slowly, but it's just doing it right. I mean, it'll be like really, really incredible, but it's we probably need to get the next versions of the model and the web stuff out of the way first.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I'll jump off so someone else can jump up, or you can do it rapid fire. But have a good day.
All right, thank you. Let's do a lightning round. So anybody can post questions in the text channel. I'm just gonna like go through a lot of things really fast. Yeah, so we're trying to make it so that V6 understands like multiple things in a prompt much better. See how well it goes. But I don't think Sam Altman has a backpack with a nuclear button. I'm sorry. That's hilarious though. The world's not actually that intense or cool. Like the world isn't intense as cool. The world is like more of like stupid and scary in terms of like yeah, in terms of like positions of power. Yeah. Or like crazy. Like yeah. I'm not saying anyone is like stupid or crazy, but it's more of like yeah, like if you meet people in positions of power, they're usually like crazier, more boring, more dumb, or like they're not usually like really like they're not usually like here's a fucking nuclear switch. I mean, sometimes everybody has like their intense quip. But usually they're like intense quips, not like actual like here's a button that will destroy the world. I mean, I think even the nuclear, yeah, like, yeah. Nobody wants those things. Even the person doesn't want that button, you know? Yeah, I don't think we're gonna have a teenage. It'd be cool to have like a teenage engineering Midjourney controller. I think before we have something that has a lot of physical knobs, we'll have something that's like more of like a spatial thing. I think you're gonna see like a leap motion like Midjourney thing before you see a teenage engineering Midjourney thing. Not necessarily in terms of like literal technologies, but like those are sort of very different directions of interfaces. Text will start working in either V6 or V7. I mean, it'll probably be in V6. Yeah, it'll be legal to have a hive mind. Yeah, I would like to make it more easily to recycle and reuse old images. Yeah, I don't know. Remix hasn't the remaster hasn't been as fun with V5 as it was with V4 or V3. I don't know why, but hopefully it's better in the future. Yeah, we're gonna try to add more color control. We did more testing with the color control for V5, and honestly, it like didn't work as well as I wanted. So we'll probably push it to V6. Image prompts will get better. Burning Man was really nice. I kind of imagine it as a place where like everyone's just doing drugs and having sex, but like you can only do drugs so much every single day, so almost nobody is actually on drugs at any given point in time, which was nice. So, yeah, everyone's like sweaty and dusty, and there's not like the gifting was really cool. There was like a bacon camp where you had to drink margaritas and get bacon, and there was a church of Jesus, and they'd say if you let Jesus into your heart, like they say, if you praise Jesus, you get like a fried cheese stick, and if you let Jesus into your heart, you get like a grilled cheese sandwich. There was like a vegan camp where it was like all fresh fruits and vegetables, and they played like violin and had tea ceremonies. I think the vegan camp was like my favorite. The Jesus camp though like had a lot of soul or a lot of religiousness to it, which was fun. The bacon camp, like they just couldn't make enough bacon, and I'm just gonna say it. I mean, the bacon was really good though, but like at some point I'd rather have like a ton of fruit than one piece of bacon. The gifting, yeah, everyone's like very open. There's no rules. It's great. I mean, Burning Man, yeah, it was a lot better than I thought. The whole thing, even with like all the rain. We don't currently store image prompts. We might one day. We'll have more like, yeah. We are very flat in our team. We do an office hours internally. People have more questions in the community than they do internally. I think partially though that's because it's like we're getting like the top 1% of people ask, like the top, like most, like we're getting like 1% of people asking questions out of 1,000-person audience. But I always try to, we had like an offsite recently. It was really nice. You should be able to remaster things in the new versions. Promising and inspiring ideas around 3D Midjourney. I mean, 3D Midjourney is less around like exporting a model to a video game and being a game developer. I think it's more about creating a sense of space and place out of the stuff that you're making. And it's hard to describe, but there's like a really different emotional resonance when you can like move the camera a little bit and everything just feels like a space. Hard to describe, but it's really compelling. Yeah, we'll be able to use job IDs more in the future for stuff, but we might change the format, make it cleaner, but I'm not sure. So are they having sex all the time at Burning Man? Don't think so. There are like orgy tents, but I don't know. The one I stuck my cat ears into, there was like people at opposite sides of the room not doing anything. So it was like I actually don't have a sense that it's actually like as druggy or sexual as people think from a distance. Most just people being like in really hot climates, being tired and trying to share things. Oh my god, all the questions disappeared. What's going on? Bigger batches. We're gonna try to do bigger batches in V6, but we'll see. It's hard. We're kind of like there's some like pretty big decisions around V6 in terms of like the resolution, the way we do the resolution. So We want to do it, and we'll see. We'll see. Bigger grids may come soon. It's hard to know. I would like them. We're trying to make they're like an objective. Um. Uh. Yeah, there isn't a really easy way for us to whitelist Midjourney images for image prompts right now, but we'd like to do it one day. I think the way that we do folders will be more like tags, meaning like you can have an image in multiple folders at the same time. It'd be cool to like turn books into image things one day, like a book into a picture book. What was missing from Burning Man? It just rained a lot this year, and that was bad. It would be, yeah, and I can't really say I can criticize it anyway, except for that the rain was really tough. I do think I'll probably do some physical art one day. Yeah, why not? I want to fund more physical art in general. Hopefully, when we do 3D Midjourney, it'll also do more like physical art. V6 be able to do multiple characters better. Yes. The hex colors was not working very well in V5, so I'll probably save it to V6. I don't think I saw the Flume set. We could bring a stealth add-on back. I don't know how many people want that, but that's interesting. People want that. I have seen the AR wall tech. The custom style will basically give you a code, and you can put it after your prompt to get the style. But if you don't put it in there, it doesn't show up. So by default, the custom style stuff is never on by default, unless you do like /prefer or unless you put it in your prompt. Are you the perfect person to bring AI image generation to the mainstream? I don't know if I'm the perfect person for anything, but I'm a person, and I'm trying to build some really cool stuff. And I think I will. Thank you. I am. More questions are petering off. So will the new social stuff use our created aesthetics to connect with other users? I wasn't thinking about that, but something like that would be cool. Yeah, outpainting the zoom out works a lot better than the outpainting like translate. So I better just zoom out or use the custom zoom to like zoom out up and down at the same time. Yeah, the panning feature is not as much as we'd like. Is not as good as we'd like. We're not really working on integrations right now because we barely can do our current thing. We're more working on like instead of integrating our stuff with product A or B, we're just trying to make our like really good standalone default thing, and then keep the Discord stuff going too. Maybe one day we'll have APIs and lots of integrations, but it's definitely not the most important thing right now. Inpainting will get better over time. I think the biggest thing, inpainting will get a lot faster one day. That's probably the biggest thing. We're going to replace the current website and just have a totally different website. So just FYI. Describe will improve more. Is the Midjourney pictures true original art or just copied? I mean, I think Midjourney is like, they make sure this like synthetic media. I don't know if I think some of it is going to be really weird, and some of it, if you're like literally asking for a picture of a cat, will like look like a picture of a cat. So it definitely depends. I think it's more dependent on the user than it is on the system in terms of how unusual of an image it makes. Annual subs are a relatively small percentage of the community, but they pay up front, so it becomes a large amount of money that we can count on. Upscaling short with any aspect ratio. We are making a web interface. We're not obscuring faces for legal reasons in image prompts. It just doesn't do faces very well. I do think that if we can copy faces exactly, we're going to have to think about that feature and be careful about it. I don't know. But there'll probably be these more stringent. Like right now, like celebrities or like political figures have a more extreme prompt limitation than fantasy creatures. So if you copy a real face, we'll probably have more, much more strong safety measures. You will not lose your image history with the new website. And I like micro polls too. I would like to have I'd like to do more in the future, but I just don't always have a good idea. So I post them as they come into my head. Yeah, it'd be cool to have better ways of doing arguments on mobile. It's an interesting question about the best way to do it is. Maybe like a period. I don't know. It's an interesting question. Open ideas. There will be an image rating party before V6. It is very important for us. If we did a 5.5, we probably have to do an image rating party too. So that's one of the things that would take a lot more effort. Creativity contributes to post scarcity because in order to get to post scarcity, we're going to have to create a lot of things. And we're going to have to enjoy being creative and have faith in what we can create. We'll have more things in the future where the community can help the model learn, and where we even have free tiers based off of people who help the model more. There will be a social element to the website. I'm not really an expert on law, so I try to have really good legal people who advise me, and I don't really think I'm a good person to just lecture about it. So don't really talk about it. Prompt battles are events, and they're usually, I think, on the calendar, but you can also ask Kinky Kong, and she can tell you. I don't think we're going to have a copyright lawyer on an AMA. It's interesting as a concept. Better for you to have your own lawyers. It's a cool idea, like a community lawyer. It's very provocative. I wonder. I wonder if that's a good idea. It's really crazy idea. A community lawyer, it's a really cool idea. Community lawyer. I don't think that works in practice, but because like there's like weird, I think there's like weird requirements, but I'm not sure. Uh, I think we would do super relaxed hours if there was a way. Super relaxed hour, I'm not really sure how super relaxed hours work, like, because relaxed hours are already free. So a super relaxed hour would like give you extra credit. It would be interesting. Okay. Why don't we do a few more voice questions, one more lightning round, and then we'll call it a day. Probably like 2:15, so like another 15, 30 minutes. Oh, actually, I have to go. Yeah, no, we can do we can do a few more voices and then a quick lightning. So maybe it'll be like 15 minutes. Yeah. Any more voice people?
It looks like everyone put their hand down during the lightning round. So if you had your hand up previously and still have a question, raise it again and I'll bring it up.
Hello,
Hello.
hi, David. Thanks for putting me on H&A Chaos. Um, I'm a UX designer, and I was taking a stab at the web UI, and I see Dub becoming like this creative studio where people just come to play together. Like, do you see Discord as this on-demand creative studio where people are interacting, and then the web becoming a place where people play async, or you see that as like on-demand as well, as you talk a lot about the website development?
We're going to try to make the website way better at async, and then we're also going to try to have some real-time collaboration on the website too.
Is that totally outstanding?
I think our opinion is that we don't want to make the website the place where you can create as a new user until there is real-time collaboration on there. But we are debating about releasing a version of the website where you can create stuff without collaboration for existing users, but we're not sure. So it's like a point of debate.
What did you tell me about why the new users are different than the existing user?
What one second.
There, I figured that with more knowledge.
Again? Like, did you repeat how it's doing in general? It's good. There's just a lot. Unfortunately, like the website has to do a lot for a lot of people, so it's just been a way bigger project than we expected. And I think we're gonna have in phase 1 in the next, week or two that is really like what the current website does, but way better in every way. And then there's gonna be another phase which has creation, and then possibly another one with lots of social stuff.
When you guys do design, how far out do you guys look? Because everything has implications.
Yeah. I think most of the people on the team are thinking about the next 6 months. I am probably thinking out 2 years, but it's hard to think beyond that.
When you think, do you imagine what you have in mind? sketch it out or show it to the team? Like how do Midjourney work as a team?
And we're very flat. People just talk. We try to figure out the most important thing. We poll the community, and then um, we go. Try to have very little structure. I tell people I talk to people about what I think is going to happen over the next 2 years, but it's always like a little hard to wrap your head around, especially when you're working every day on like short-term things. And it involves a lot of stuff that nobody's done before. So it's like hard to imagine too. So like, for example, like, I think eventually there'll be hardware for the synthetic media space that like involves like different user interfaces and different computing paradigms. But only 1 out of like 40 people on the current team has ever done anything with hardware before, I think. Like no one even knows what that means. Like what does that mean if there was some kind of hardware project one day? As like an example. Let alone like if we do some real-time WebGL, like fast stuff, like most team haven't done like real-time things before like that. Like there's just a lot of things that the future is going to involve that nobody on the team has interacted with, that has done before. But like usually the way that it works is that if I go to somebody who has no experience in something that I'm imagining, they're like, that's crazy, or I can't imagine it. And then if I go to somebody who has experience in it, they're like, well, yeah, of course you can do that. That makes sense. So I kind of have to go to like a lot of people to kind of get myself like kind of heard out.
Yeah. I mean, I think sketching it out, in any way helps to just get something tangible to align onto, because it's just never been done before.
Yeah, I find every time I try to sketch things out, it's too big for people. So it hasn't been really successful so far. I think part of the problem is that like, I don't know, like I'm an expert in a lot of different areas and I've been doing this for like a long time. And so unless somebody has the expertise and they've been doing it for a long time, it's like kind of hard to imagine all the things, But we definitely have, I think, a lot of experts on the team who are much better than me in certain areas, and they help me figure out what to do, or they understand things better than I do in certain areas. So I'm not saying I'm the best at understanding everything individually, but I think that it's really hard for me to find other people who can kind of wrap their head around all the things and what it looks like. I mean, I have a hard time doing that.
I think pieces by pieces, right? No one have it all figured out. And my understanding is you guys have a remote team, right?
Yeah, everyone's remote.
How is that going? Because you guys are kind of leading this new genre. Midjourney is doing really well. Most AI company are like, get back to the office. We gotta work together.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing?
People are more productive in person. So we definitely take a productivity hit by not being in person. I do think that obviously you can build different types of teams when you can recruit from anybody in the world. It's a little bit easier to me, it turns out, to manage people if they're all in different time zones. So, like, I manage like 40 people right now, and that's more than you can manage in person. But it turns out that if you work 16 hours a day and the 40 people are spread out over different time zones, it like kind of works. But then like recently everybody came to one time zone for an offsite, and I was like totally overwhelmed. Like I couldn't handle it at all. It was just too much. So I mean that's really cool. You can do like different and people are always awake, so if something bad happens, like it's easier to, have off hour stuff. But I think being remote on the whole is like a slight negative in terms of like output and productivity. But it's not to say that you can't make up for it. Yeah. So like
I do want to I mean not argue, but like being remote also give people creative space, because sometimes having that space is just more room to think. But yeah, that's my 2 cents kind of throwing that.
Yeah, there's definitely some elements of like giving people space.
Thank you so much.
It's not obvious to me. I think giving people more space like also has to be balanced with like giving them too much space where they like go off track. So sometimes we do a little. I think that it's like we're probably Actually, we try to balance there, but I would say right now, like, it's probably, yeah, I can't say. I think you can do it in person or remote. You can do either of those, in person or remote. All I can say is that we're definitely taking a productivity hit. And if we were trying to like have the maximum productivity, I think everybody in the team would agree that everyone being in person would be better. People have tried working in person and they always say how it's like we are better when we're in person. But we kind of built Midjourney during the pandemic, so it's hard to like once you're remote, it's almost better to stay fully remote.
Mentioned that you guys have a few workshop before, and I was wondering if you guys actually met in person or it's like workshop kind of deal.
We have like small team retreats, and then we recently did one where everybody was in person. So people, I think everybody, almost pretty much everybody has met each other now. But usually, like when we hire more people, most people don't meet anybody, like meet a lot of the other people, and so you need everybody coming here once in a while for everyone to know each other.
The San Francisco meetup you guys did earlier this year was really great. I know it's not possible for you to be everywhere on Earth, but I think those in-person events are great. Okay, I'll leave. Thank you.
We're gonna try to do more person events at some point. I've been getting sick a lot from people randomly lately. I don't know if I might have like a sinus issue that like when I clear out it's better, but I'm just like catching the cold really easily right now, and I'm still, So anyway, one last voice question. We'll do the lightning round, then I gotta go.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm Benjamin from Quebec City. So my time zone is -4 UTC, and I am privileged to be able to talk to you guys because I'm kind of new. I got my $10 subscription in the month of August, and then I didn't pay my credit card, so I had to get a credit card from the store to be able to get my $30 like 4 days after. And I got kind of addicted, and it's very fun. It's colorful. I like the styles, and I love how I can change the color and stuff, and or the words and stuff. So my question will be about that. Is there a way to have like more, for me as a new person, I don't know how to describe words, and I don't know the words. There are a lot of different kind of words, like the core words, the formal words, and other kind of words that I have to use to be able to discover what I want to do with the image. And anything about the colors also was my question earlier. All these things are the stuff that I'm the most curious about.
Yeah, so there's like, you can talk to people in prom chat and people will like talk to you about there. So there's a good chat room for that. You can also look at things on the website in the gallery to learn from other people. And then you can use the /describe command to like give it an image and it'll try to give you words for it. So I think those are the 3 best ways to learn. I'm thinking it's a lot of more of like a dictionary, but we don't have a dictionary right now.
I'm curious about the describe because there are some strange words that pop out of that, and I don't know how it's linked in the back end to the imaging. Say when I create the image, all the two are related to one another, or they know, or where are those words from, or how it works. The describe.
Yeah, the describe tries to do it, but it's not always perfect. But describe can help you come up with words. It just has like a lot of different words it tries to use.
Is it related somehow, or is it always, does it up those words? I send an image, but those words are the same word that the prompter will understand, or they are kind of unrelated or not exactly deciding.
It'll try to give you words that make a similar image, but it's not perfect yet. It's going to get a lot better over time.
Because I see a lot of strange word and stuff. Some are artists or things like that, but other word I'm not always sure. So I have to test a lot. I being on the prompt channel, I spent one day 5 hours with the guru, and I forgot his name. Someone else pointed to me. He said, "Well, you should thank them. It's been a long time, and he said 5 hours. I thought he was joking. It was true. I verified, and yeah, asking question for one single image. It was when I was beginning. But yeah, I do a lot of tests and I have to try a lot of things. So sometimes I'm scared I will use too much time. I'm on relax. So, and I grade my image every day to get the 3 hour. Also, I'm waiting for the next website. I forgot, maybe, can you repeat when or if you know when it will be ready? Because what I understand is that the current website will have it's like fixed and there will be no minor changes or something on the current version.
There'll be a version this month that is an update. Then there'll be a version next month.
Okay, so it's updating until the big release of the new website, or it changed a little bit until then?
It'll be pretty different this month, and there'll be another really different one next month.
Okay, I understand that. So, well, I have exhausted I did a little list, and I have said everything. I would like to ask as the last question, maybe, what is the stack or the things we have to know perfectly before we can be on your team as developer? Obviously, I know a little bit about TypeScript and JavaScript, but it's in my avatar. But maybe it's C++, or what is the things that your team use the most?
I mean, it depends on what areas. Like, we kind of use a little bit of everything. We use like a lot of Python for the AI side. For the website, it's more like TypeScript and React and JavaScript. We're doing some more WebGL stuff in the future. Yeah, and right now we're not hiring a lot because we're kind of like at our limit without having more managers. But we'll probably hire more people in a few months once the new versions come out. And probably the biggest areas we're trying to hire right now is like people on the data side to help us with our big data sets. People on the back end side, maybe, to help us with all the servers. But we're not hiring a lot of front end or web right now. But probably after the new website comes out, we're going to start that again.
Well, anyway, Python is in the same color of my avatar. I can change the color. It was to support Ukraine. I did the colors, but also the last thing is that I know that you said you're in Alaska and that your team is all around the world. You cannot be all over the world. Unlike maybe Sam Altman, we know he has a backpack, so he can travel the world faster with some warp speed. I don't know. But a lot of things I saw on YouTube since the DALL-E 3 thing, I have like a lot of problems with it because my workflow and everything is based on the way Midjourney is working. So when I see people that say you cancel or whatever, I understand that the prompting side is different, but I think you have something that is very beautiful and very unique. So I think you should continue in that direction, and it would be nice to see more option, maybe in the upscale. Maybe sometime there is some changes I would like to do, and I have to upscale before I can change, and then instead of doing a variation or something. So if you could do the custom remix or something like that when you do the in painting and stuff, selecting the area. If we could have that before doing an upscale, and then be able to do, say, a variation from it instead of upscaling from it, it could be maybe a nice idea.
So we're probably gonna change the way that we're probably gonna make it like U1, U2, 3, 3 to more of like a selecting I1, I2, I3, and then you'll be able to like do in painting or upscale, like. And so it'll probably be, we're gonna change it up a little bit when we have the new upscalers. So I think we'll preserve more workflows.
But
yeah,
I hope everything stay similar. But the thing that a lot of the option are on the one image, not on the grid, and maybe having those options somehow fit into the directly in the grid instead of having to upscale first and then do the change after would be something that maybe could be nice maybe later if you think about it. So, but I will let you go because it's getting light and it's 5 in Quebec City, 5:10, and I know you're about to complete that, but it was nice to talk with you here. Thank you.
Okay. All right, I gotta run soon, so I'm gonna do one last quick lightning round, and then we gotta go. Lightning round, lightning round. 3D will be able to do scenes or individual models, like objects, we usually call it. Images are sometimes flagged, like none of our moderation systems are perfect, so sometimes they're just wrong. I think the biggest misunderstanding right now on the image moderation is that we don't allow like shirtless pictures, or pictures that look like they're shirtless. Sorry, it's just really hard to be nuanced there. Will we have video this year? We might have some limited video this year, not like super full amazing video, but there might be something this year, might be early next year. I don't do haunted houses. Bulk deletion, not like, we're gonna have bulk, we'll have like rating systems and filtering, but like not doing a lot of deleting stuff right now. 3D will hopefully come this year, but it could be a little late. It'll be really basic when we do it. When we do 3D, there may or may not be meshes. I think one day we'll do some mesh things. Syncing to Google Drive is really cool. It's not on the top 5 or 10 or 15 list right now. So we're just trying to get the basic web thing out. It looks like we're gonna have a good downloader again. Don't really know what collaboration projects are, I'm sorry. We're focusing on just building our own stuff right now. Whenever we do video, it's going to be better than everything else. Whenever we do 3D, it'll be better than everything else just because our core models are so good. Character consistency this year, hopefully, but hard to say. It's like the next biggest thing after V6 and the website. Fractals, I've always wanted to do Midjourney fractals, but I don't know if we'll ever do it now. Pretty cool. A small percentage of images are stealth. Stealth is a relatively small percentage. It's like smaller than the, set of pro people because yeah. Lighting direction, that'd be really cool. Not yet, but I think that's thinking in the right direction for stuff we'll do one day. It's like lighting and color controls. We're going to do color controls before lighting controls, but I like lighting controls would be cool too. UFOs, aliens. All the AI people keep talking about how there are no aliens and we will be the gods of the universe and take everything over. And it keeps feeling like, if an ant is like, oh, there's no anthills nearby, so I'm going to take over the whole world. Or like, if ants were gods, they would take all the sugar water. And sugar water is the only valuable thing in the world. And it doesn't feel right. Yeah, we are aliens. And I think they'll be crazier aliens. I think there are weirder aliens than us, but I think that it's fun to explore what humans are because I think I think that the universe has lots of life and that but not a lot of humans. And so trying to figure out what humans could be is what I think about a lot. I think 3D will eventually be like full worlds. I think the ideas we're building kind of like a world engine. AI hot take is that I think we can make people and groups of people super smart before we can make individual AIs super smart. That's very controversial, but I think that people are already smart and groups of people are smart, so making them smarter is probably easier than making something that's really smart from scratch. Yeah, we're gonna try to make everyone super smart. I think AI games, whenever our stuff is ready to build games, add 2 years to it because games take forever to make. We'll definitely be trying to make sure that we can operate in all the major continents. A lot of the early legal stuff is pretty confused and weird. So we're trying to help make people not make laws that aren't completely incoherent. But yeah, it'd be cool to do brain interfaces. Yeah, All right. I think I gotta go soon. Yeah, I'm gonna go. So I gotta think at 3. I'm gonna go do a checkup, make sure I'm healthy. Almost totally recovered from my cold. So thank you, everybody. Have a nice day. This is the Midjourney Weekly Office Hours. We do them every week on Wednesday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hope everyone has a nice week. I hope everybody enjoys the stuff that we're working on. And thank you for your support. Have a nice day. Thank you.